on America tonight examines one of the greatest challenges facing the American family farm, aging. The average age of a farmer is now 58, with a third over 65. CBS's Meg Oliver looks at an innovative program to cultivate the next generation of American farmers.
On an acre of land in Cream Ridge, New Jersey, Christina Couch is a one-woman force.
What are you growing here?
These are sugar snap peas.
And how tall will they get?
About 6+ feet.
Months of prepping, planting, and nurturing 7 days a week have turned her brown field into tidy rows of lush vegetables and herbs.
The last time you were here, they were all the way down to the ground. Now they're up to our shoulders.
Couch, a former cook, is now a newly minted farmer.
We're growing a lot of specialty varieties, so when you go to a restaurant, you see a fancy, colorful beet or a beautiful garnish or a delicate herb.
At 26 years old, she's more than 3 decades younger than the average farmer in the U.S.
Nearly half of the nation's farms are owned by farmers 65 or older, making them the oldest workforce in the country. Why is it so hard to break into farming?
Well, many people are not raised on a farm or don't.
Professor and third-generation farmer Bill Lubick is Couch's mentor and actively recruiting the next generation at the Beginner Farmer Training Program at Rutgers University in New Jersey.
We absolutely have to have a next generation of farmers to produce food for us.
The 3-phase program begins with online classes covering farming basics, followed by hands-on training. Select students develop a farm business plan and put it into action. They can rent land from the program with access to equipment and agricultural experts.
The radiation from the sun will break that down. And we are attracting a very diverse group of people into our program. 60% are women, almost that many percentage are minorities.
And you just pluck it right off.
Novices like Couch, many without a farm background, are seeking customers in a non-traditional route.
What does your generation bring to farming?
We're just going about farming a bit differently, a little bit against the grain, and leveraging things like social media, like fundraising. Just let the ground get nice and moist. And just building communities that people are attracted to, want to support young farmers. Hola.
On this day, greens that were picked by Couch just hours earlier were delivered to Jasper Stone Restaurant.
This is Little Gem lettuce.
This is where she used to work as a line cook and realized her dream of farming.
I just had this light bulb moment that I could grow this and help fill the gap so that we don't have to get produce from so far away to put on the tables at restaurants.
Now she's proud to have her locally grown produce turned into delicious salads.
It is the hardest job I've ever had. It is really, really difficult. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Cultivating tomorrow's food supply with growing satisfaction. For Eye on America, I'm Meg Oliver in Cream Ridge, New Jersey.
In part 2 of our Eye on America examination of the addiction crisis, we are looking at harm reduction programs. This is a controversial approach to treating addicts that critics say only make things worse. CBS's Mark Strassman reports from a community that has fully embraced it.
An Indian is an Indian, a brother is a brother, a sister is a sister.
Twice a week, Coleman Cox drives more than an hour into controversy.
30 shorts.
30 shorts. Today we are headed to Veneta, Oklahoma.
It's called harm reduction. Its focus, preventing drug overdoses and the spread of infectious diseases rather than urging abstinence.
Across the board, this 7,000 square mile reservation, no one's immune.
Chuck Hoskin is the principal chief here with roughly 140,000 tribal members.
There's something that's especially sad, even pathetic about this, isn't there?
No one sets out to really get addicted to anything, but so many people were using this medicine because it was prescribed to them.
America's opioid scourge is a special sorrow here on the reservation. In 2022, more than 100,000 Americans died from overdoses. Native Americans are twice as likely to overdose fatally as white Americans. Cox and Chris Rich set up their van in an alley and waited for people with addictions to show up.
We have sterile syringes that we call them points.
Points are needles. clean ones for people using. This is the controversy.
It can be, yes.
Harm reduction programs have also been tried in dozens of communities. In several states, needle exchange programs were disbanded. Critics complained they encouraged homelessness.
It's easy to be unsuccessful because it tends to be just blanket approaches.
Cassie Abbott-Eng has researched harm reduction programs at the University of Tulsa.
Is this an approach born of desperation?
I would agree with that.
We met Donald Cody in Veneta. Now 61, he has struggled with addiction since he was 17.
So tired of doing the same old thing and expecting something different to happen.
What do you think of the VAN program?
People are going to do what they're going to do, and that way they have the safest way they can.
So we were talking about the contract. Cox, now in recovery himself, agrees.
When people say to you, you're just enabling users.
I am enabling them. I'm enabling them to live tomorrow. All my enabling leads to them eventually making the decision to change their relationship with their drugs. And then we can begin to talk about treatment and recovery.
As a tribe, the Cherokee fought opioids by suing multiple drug makers and pharmacy chains. They've won more than $100 million. Some of that money funds this harm reduction program. I learned a Cherokee word today.
Oh, you did?
Gadugi.
Gadugi, working together as a community, as a tribe.
And that's what this program is?
But it's also Uwe Shua Donatela, which means the ones who help from the heart.
This drum circle celebrates Cherokees trying to stay clean and sober. Handing out clean needles is sobering, but nothing else has worked. For Eye on America, Mark Strassman in Tahlequah, Oklahoma.
For the next 2 nights, Eye on America will examine the addiction crisis. From 2011 to 2021, more than 320,000 children lost a parent to a drug overdose, and those kids are then more at risk of developing an addiction themselves. CBS Nancy Chen visits a summer camp designed to break that cycle.
You're looking for the emotion, embarrassed. Go, Cole, go.
With the sights and sounds of summer, this may feel like a storybook camp.
Green and purple.
But these children say their stories are far from it.
I never knew anybody else who had the same kind of experience as me before I came here.
It's Madison Timmons' 3rd year at Camp Mariposa, a national year-long program that teaches kids the tools they need to manage addiction in their families.
What are some of the things that you remember about your dad?
I remember one time he showed up at my school and I thought he was just like having fun, but I later learned that he was just like, he was intoxicated. I was in preschool at the time.
Think about like if it was a play.
Traditional camp activities are combined with support sessions led by trained professionals. The focus, preventing drug and alcohol use.
Confident.
3,500 campers have come through the free program since it started in 2007.
Come on, Evelyn!
Renee Mazier is the director of this camp in the Pennsylvania woods.
We're teaching kids not only what addiction is and that it's a disease and how substances really hijack the brain, but then we follow that with coping strategies.
And it works. A 6-year study found at least 94% of participants, 12 years old and up, had not gotten high.
Let's go, Sonny!
Kids attend camp here between the ages of 9 and 12, what experts call a key window in understanding and breaking the cycle of substance use disorder. Children of a parent with a history of addiction are between 4 to 8 times more likely to develop a problem with addiction themselves.
My addiction has nothing to do with the way I feel about Madison.
Jason Strecker is Madison's father. He says he's sober today from the hard drugs he started using at age 12. His addiction strong enough at times to come before his daughter, the one whose name is tattooed on his neck.
When we talked to Maddie, she said that she feels like she's lost a parent, that she became an adult too soon.
Absolutely. It sucks because I didn't want it to be like that. We were really a strong family unit, and I thought I was going to be able to get it this time, and I really, really did, and then I started using again.
What is not working?
immediate access to treatment.
Dr. Barbara Schindler is the medical director of a program at Philadelphia's Drexel University for families struggling with addiction.
Given how intergenerational addiction can be, how difficult is it to break that cycle?
It's a very treatable illness. This is a pediatric disease for almost everybody.
This summer marks Madison's last here as a camper, but she plans on returning next year as a junior counselor.
What would your message be to other children who are going through what you've gone through?
You'll make it.
A new chapter in this story for the next generation. For Eye on America, Nancy Chen, Quakertown, Pennsylvania.
In tonight's Eye on America, we want to talk about trash. The amount of garbage in the U.S. has exploded, nearly doubling since 1980, and it's significantly affecting the quality of life in American cities. CBS's Mark Strassman shows us what one major city is doing about it.
Looks like construction debris, some household stuff.
In someone's bags of dumped trash.
You smell that?
Ramses Alvarez's team just found their treasure.
It looks like some W-2s.
A name with an address. What you're doing here, though, is building a case.
Yeah. This is our evidence.
San Francisco's like much of America, blighted by litter. Alvarez supervises these public works employees. Think of them as trash detectives, rooting through mounds of rubbish, block by block, bag by bag, trying to tie the trash to the trasher. What'd you find?
It's like credit card applications.
It happens 24/7, 365. There's always illegal dumping in this city.
Surveillance video shows this guy unloading his truck onto the sidewalk. Fines can hit $1,000. The goal of the program is more than just cleanup, it's accountability.
Yes, it's not okay to use the city as your trash can.
Talking trash nationally, there are an estimated 50 billion pieces of litter lying around on U.S. roads and waterways. That comes out to roughly 150 pieces of litter for every person living in this country.
A trashed environment sends a powerful message, and it's not a pleasant one psychologically or socially or physically.
David Spiegel, a psychiatry professor at Stanford, says the trashing of America, images like this, breeds social isolation.
Social isolation is bad for your mental health, it's bad for your physical health, and they've actually linked it to depression.
San Francisco alone generates 5,000 tons of trash a day. Recology, one of the city's waste disposal companies, collects and separates most of it into 3 categories: landfill, recycling, and compost sold to fertilize nearby farms. But 18,000 tons of trash a year gets dumped on city streets. You walk out here every day.
Man, and it's going to be garbage.
Joffrey Simpson lives on this corner. It's one of 30 hot spots for dumping just in this one neighborhood. Who was doing this, do you know?
And I wouldn't know, man.
Yeah, but it takes you off.
Constantly.
In a 2024 Lawn Starter survey of America's dirtiest cities, New York City's living conditions came out first, which means worst. San Francisco second, Jersey City third.
He's calling our packer truck.
In San Francisco, many people dump to dodge trash collection fees paid by most owners and renters here.
We want to recycle and compost as much as possible.
Recology's Robert Reed has this reminder: do your part.
We all generate garbage. We all have a personal responsibility to take care of it, to put it in the right place.
People are good.
In this trash, no leads. All the personal mail torn to pieces. So that person's getting away with it.
Yeah, until next time.
And next time could be right around the corner. For Eye on America, Mark Strassman in San Francisco.
As we reported earlier, this was a deadly 4th of July holiday, with at least 340 people killed by guns last week in the U.S. Law enforcement certainly has its hands full. An Atlanta-based program is trying to reduce crime by bringing together police and the people they serve in a familiar setting. CBS's Drika Duncan takes a look in tonight's Eye on America.
What Caden Weeks first discovered on the track is a lesson he's learned even better off of it. That getting to this finish line would require him to focus and not look back.
Where my mama at? Come here.
I love you.
Love you too, son.
Take me back to where you were a year and a half ago. You and Caden are going through it.
That's an understatement.
I didn't believe in consequences.
But consequences came in March of 2023. Atlanta's gang and SWAT unit arrested Caden and 3 others on multiple felony charges, including illegal gun possession and street gang activity. Caden was looking at up to 20 years behind bars.
You call your mom and you say what?
Like, Mama, I'm in jail. She started breaking down crying.
His mother, Tamika, says she spent all of her savings, $8,000, to make bail.
Next day, Clippers and cops. And that changed everything.
It's not just us, it's all of us.
For the last 6 years, Clippers and Cops has been bringing together police and the community. The intention is to meet in a place where kids feel most comfortable. And here, that place is the barbershop.
If you stay, you're going to learn something.
Retired police officer Ty Dennis says he was inspired to start the nonprofit after working in Atlanta's gang unit for 10 years.
We can't arrest our way out of some of these problems. We can't keep doing the same things, and that's basically what Clippers and Cops is, something different. We're not saying it's an end all, but it's what we've decided to do to try to make change.
Not only are they in barbershops,
your goals is your roadmap to success.
They're in classrooms. They visited over 50 schools from Missouri to Tennessee and Georgia.
We talk about topics that they want to talk about: decision-making, goal setting, do's and don'ts on traffic stops, rap music, prison, and just try to help them do better in interacting with law enforcement.
A recent Gallup poll found that close to 7 in 10 adults in this country say they are confident in their local police. But when you break it down by race, that number drops to 56% for Black Americans. Programs like Clippers and Cops can improve relationships between police and those they're sworn to protect, creating more trust, an improved sense of community, and a decrease in crime of up to 22%.
That's what kids need to see. They need to see that this is what people that look like me can do, will do, and are willing to do for me.
At Caden's graduation, Ty was there.
On behalf of Clippers and Cops, we wanted to present this to you.
With another important piece of paper.
Yes, sir.
The one saying prosecutors decided not to move forward and drop all charges.
That's good, dog. Thank you, man.
He had to go execute the plan. If they fall down, they're able to get back up and get their life back on track.
Back on track because Clippers and Cops instilled in Caden one of the most important lessons of life. It's not how you start, but how you finish. For Eye on America, I'm Jerika Duncan in Atlanta.
On this 4th of July, we celebrate the promise of America, one that's drawn generations of immigrants here. In tonight's Eye on America, instead of focusing on what isn't working with immigration, CBS's Janet Shamlian takes us to a place where it is.
When Angelica Chernitska and her mother Larissa left war-torn Ukraine earlier this year,
what did you learn today?
They never expected Topeka, Kansas would quickly feel like home.
I was overwhelmed. That is how I could just describe my feelings.
That's because the people of this Midwestern city have created a modern-day welcome wagon.
What's it like getting a family settled here?
It's very rewarding to see the children strive in school. They not afraid of sirens.
Yana Ross, who emigrated from Ukraine herself, started the volunteer group Top City Promise. The nonprofit helps new immigrants, mostly Ukrainians so far, with almost all expenses for 3 months, including a place to live.
What was it like to walk into an apartment the day after you arrived in Topeka? Fully furnished, food in the refrigerator.
I was overwhelmed.
What's unique is how the group has partnered with the community to make sure it's more than a roof over their heads. A Church of the Latter-day Saints welcomes the newcomers to pick up free food. A Catholic church stores donations that furnish the homes.
Capes Gora, right?
And the Topeka School District has gone as far as hiring what it calls a director of cultural innovation.
They come here and they shop basically for what they need.
Pilar Mejia helps ease the transition for children.
We need to strengthen our community from the ground up, and it starts with the children. And so we need to make sure that everybody feels like they're important, they are seen, they are welcomed.
Topeka schools now have an international flair.
Cities, lakes.
In the district of almost 13,000, Ukrainian and Spanish are the most common languages after English. More than 200 refugees have benefited from the program, and the helping hand extends to all nationalities.
I love it.
You seem happy.
Yeah, yes, very happy. It's different my life here.
Lisbeth Amador came from Nicaragua with her husband and 6-year-old daughter. The couple has jobs, a car, and a good school for Surrey. The cost of welcoming a family can range from $300 to $10,000, depending on needs. Top City Promise relies on fundraising and the big hearts of the people who call Topeka home.
Why do they choose Topeka over other cities?
Community is what makes Topeka different because of the desire of Topeka community to help them to be successful.
A life-changing approach, a culture of wanting to help that's transformed just surviving into thriving. For Eye on America, Janet Shamley, Topeka, Kansas.
About 1 in 7 senior citizens are veterans. In their later years, many of them face challenges to get the care they need. Now, the Department of Veterans Affairs is exploring a way to help. In tonight's Eye on America, CBS's James Brown reports on an approach that relies on the time-honored idea that there's no place like home.
Chantel Cross and her 2 kids set 3 extra places for dinner.
You want more, Charlie?
And Charles McCoubry, Peter Samaras, and Eckhart Teese couldn't be happier to have a seat at the table.
I like living here.
The 3 men are part of what's called the Medical Foster Home Program,
You gonna play catch with Charlie?
an innovative approach to an old problem,
Oh, we catch it, Pete.
taking care of veterans who need extra care later in life.
Give me what some of the advantages are of living here in a home as opposed to a nursing facility.
It's nice here, and being in a nursing home, they just throw you away. They ignore you. But here we're like part of the family.
All 3 men served in the military in the late 60s and early 70s. Charles in the Navy, Peter and Eckhart in the Army, which is the subject of some good-natured ribbing in their home.
What do you guys like about each other?
Nothing. He's like a brother to me, yeah.
Good job.
Chantel's career began in a nursing home, but she realized she could provide a more comfortable environment in her home.
Very good.
Medical professionals and social workers visit the vets.
I know you're doing it, Charlie.
Chantel also takes them to services outside the home.
The daycare center they go to is wonderful. We take the guys out to the mall, let them do some walking. Somebody might want coffee. We get them ice cream.
Our caregivers treat the veterans as their own family.
Dana Cooper is the VA's Director of Home and Community Care. She oversees the Medical Foster Home Program.
The caregivers have to live in the home with the veteran, and so we really see that family bond and relationship.
It takes a different person to do this, Ms. Cooper.
Yeah.
Why?
I believe that every veteran has a right to remain and age in place and be with people who surround them with love.
Almost half of the veteran population is 65 and over. Nursing homes can cost over $100,000 per year out of pocket. The Medical Foster Program costs vets less than half that. Caregivers receive, on average, $2,800 per month from each veteran living in their home.
Chantel, what do you get out of this?
A lot. It gives me a peace of mind to know that I'm able to help others and give back. I love helping others and I love giving back.
The program began in 2002 in Arkansas, Florida, and Puerto Rico. Today, it's found in 47 states where over 700 veterans receive home care from approximately 500 caregivers.
How long do you envision yourself doing this?
Forever. I don't ever want to stop.
Any veteran enrolled in the VA system is eligible for this program.
You understand?
A program that serves as a powerful reminder about the healing power of home. For Eye on America,
Hey, Charlie.
I'm James Brown in Baltimore.
We've been reporting this week on the U.S. Surgeon General declaring gun violence a public health crisis. Firearm deaths among children have gone up nearly 90% in the last decade, and the American Academy of Pediatrics urges doctors to discuss firearm safety with their patients, because for many it's remained a taboo topic. Well, in tonight's Eye on America, CBS's Nikki Batiste reports on doctors working to change the conversation around safe gun storage.
This gun range may feel a world away from a doctor's office, but these are medical professionals training to save lives by learning about guns.
I felt like I had a real deficit in talking about firearms with patients.
We sat in on the class Dr. James Bigham teaches at Max Creek Gun Range in Wisconsin.
First thing I want to start off with is the bullet.
With shop and gun owner Steve DeRazio.
That's part of being the responsible gun owner, is knowing right from wrong.
A primary care doctor and professor at the University of Wisconsin School of Medicine, Dr. Bigham asks his patients about how they store their weapons in routine visits.
People may feel it's too personal, but as a physician, I absolutely think I have the space to say we got to be doing everything we can to protect our children, our communities.
In 2018, the NRA tweeted regarding this topic that doctors should stay in their lane. What's your response to that?
Yeah, I think this is our lane. As a primary care doctor, if I'm willing to counsel you on alcohol consumption, tobacco use, how you're driving your car, I got to be talking about firearms as well.
Is this a Second Amendment issue?
I don't think so. I mean, we have the right to bear arms. I sell guns. That's the last thing I want to do is take away my guns. It's not about taking away, it's about safety, and that's it.
Nearly 500 people a year die from accidental shootings. Gun suicides are at an all-time high for adults, and suicide rates for children have risen dramatically. Access to unlocked firearms in homes makes suicide nearly 4 times more likely. There are about 30 million children across the country living in homes with guns.
Studies show a child as young as 3 has the strength to pull this trigger.
Pediatricians at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia say asking parents about safe gun storage is as important as asking about bike helmets and pool safety.
Are there any guns at home?
Dad is in the Army, so there is one, but we actually got a lock here for it.
To share your experiences. Dr. Dorothy Novick is also teaching these soon-to-be doctors how to broach the triggering topic.
All of the injury prevention safety counseling that we offer, we now wrap firearms right into that conversation to really make it normal.
The hospital provides these gun locks to families, one step in making homes safer.
This is really a conversation about safety. This is not a question about politics or ideology. And in fact, people from all across the ideological spectrum all agree that firearm safety is really a fundamental tenet of responsible firearm ownership.
Critical care, starting with a life-saving conversation. For Eye on America, Nikki Batiste, Philadelphia.
Across the country, a quarter of all fatal police shootings involve a person with a serious mental illness. The sheriff's office in Cook County, Illinois, has created a first-of-its-kind co-responder program relying on compassion more than force. And a warning to viewers, this story shows people in crisis and includes thoughts of suicide. Here's CBS's Usher Qureshi with tonight's Eye on America.
This is where the guy was. He was on the outside of the railing. I felt he was ready to jump at any second.
Seconds count. Every word counts. When you're trying to talk someone off the literal ledge.
I feel you, brother. No.
Body cam shows these critical moments in February when Officer Dave Steyek was first to arrive at this bridge outside of Chicago.
My man, I need you to give me a hug. My name's Dave. Brother, I love you. All right? My friends are here, and we're going to help you back over.
While officers succeeded here, Steyek admits police are not best qualified to counsel people in crisis.
They don't train you. This is exactly what you do. This is the step A through Z of how to talk someone off of a bridge. And it's not really a police thing.
1 in 4 people with a serious mental illness is arrested at some point during their lifetime. And keep in mind, they're 16 times more likely to be killed in an encounter with police.
To reduce those odds, Cook County Sheriff's officers bring mental health counselors like Ellie Montgomery to the scene virtually.
They're getting a tool that they've never had before in which they can get a mental health professional on scene in seconds.
What's the matter with him?
He's harming himself.
Officers used it for the first time with this man in crisis in 2020.
You want to hold on to this for me?
Once it de-escalated, he talked to a counselor on the tablet.
I'm not that good, but I got you kind of calm down. She's a lot better at this.
The sheriff's office has a team of behavioral health experts on call 24/7 by phone or video. They helped Lachelle Wardell's grandson with his mental health and trouble at school.
What do you think would have happened if you hadn't been able to get the help that you needed through the sheriff's department?
Oh, I don't even really want to think about that, Usher. It's transformed our lives and changed the trajectory for my entire family.
How's your grandson doing now?
He's made the honor roll. I've never seen anything like this. I kind of tear up thinking about this because they walked with us and held our hand through the whole process because it was so difficult. It was very, very difficult.
The use of remote counseling on scene nearly doubled in 3 years, according to Cook County Sheriff Tom Dart.
We don't need to have 100 mental health clinicians on staff here. We are working with 15 or 16 right now, and that more than covers it because you don't have to physically be there.
This is a new program we started yesterday. I'm going to see how this works.
Getting buy-in was a challenge at first, but when officers have called for virtual backup, the sheriff's office says no one's been arrested, injured, or killed.
Can this work in other places?
I cannot think of a place where this would not work.
And it needs to work.
I'm here for you. If there's nobody else that is, then I'm here for you.
Because officers can't always make saves like this on their own. For Eye on America, I'm Usher Qureshi in Chicago.